Welcome back to another intriguing episode of Conveniently Unspoken, your portal into the enigmatic annals of history. In this episode, we delve into the controversial topic of potential secret society involvement within the United Nations and the alleged pursuit of a global single government. In earlier episodes, we explored similar notions surrounding the League of Nations, the precursor to the United Nations. However, various other international events coalesced to help give birth to the UN. Let's begin with the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, an organization whose principles and humanitarian endeavors played a pivotal role in shaping modern international humanitarian law and, by extension, influencing the formation of the UN. The ICRC's relentless advocacy for the humane treatment of victims during armed conflicts contributed to the creation and acceptance of the First Geneva Convention in 1864. Additional Geneva Conventions were adopted over the years, addressing topics like the treatment of wounded and sick at sea, prisoners of war, and civilians. These conventions laid the foundation for contemporary international humanitarian law, governing the conduct of parties during armed conflicts. Moving forward, the Declaration of St. James's Palace, also known as the London Declaration, marked the first unified statement of objectives and principles by the Allied powers during World War II. This declaration emerged following the initial Inter-Allied Conference at St. James's Palace in London in June 1941. The Declaration of St. James's Palace outlined three crucial resolutions. Firstly, it affirmed the alliance among the parties, pledging mutual assistance in the war against Germany and Italy. Secondly, it committed the Allies to avoid separate peace agreements, stressing that peace should only be pursued once the threat of Axis domination had dissipated. Lastly, it endorsed the principle of a post-war world built upon the willing cooperation of free peoples, ensuring economic and social security for all. Now, let's delve into the Atlantic Charter, a pivotal document that delineated the principles and objectives guiding Allied nations in their struggle against the Axis powers and set the stage for the United Nations and the post-war global order. Issued in August 1941, this charter represented the first comprehensive statement by Allied powers articulating their vision for a post-war world. It emphatically stated that neither the United States nor the United Kingdom sought territorial expansion through the war and pledged to respect the right of all peoples to choose their government freely. The charter underscored the concept of self-determination, asserting that nations should have the liberty to select their form of governance without external interference. It further called for economic cooperation, equal trade access, and improved global economic conditions for the well-being of all. The Atlantic Charter embodied the commitment of its signatory nations to work towards a post-war era characterized by disarmament, security, and freedom for all nations. It advocated for better living conditions, labor standards, and economic progress worldwide. Some conspiracy theories speculate that the UN has clandestinely conspired to erode the sovereignty of individual nations in pursuit of a one-world government. Critics may highlight international agreements and treaties as evidence of perceived intrusions into national autonomy. Critiques of the UN occasionally argue that its endeavors to tackle global issues, such as climate change, poverty, and conflict, involve excessive global governance and interference in domestic affairs. Consequently, suspicions arise that the UN is ineffective in addressing global challenges, fostering conspiracy theories suggesting that it intentionally perpetuates global instability. Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, initiatives aimed at sustainability and development goals, are often under scrutiny, with some theorists alleging that secret societies like the Illuminati wield control over the United Nations. These theories claim that the sustainability and development goals serve as a pretext for consolidating global power and undermining national governments. Now, let's explore the Codex Alimentarius program, initiated by the World Health Organization, a branch of the United Nations. Norman Borlaug, a Nobel laureate, once remarked, "He who controls food, controls the world," echoing the Nathan Rothschild sentiment that control over resources holds immense influence over governments. Codex Alimentarius comprises internationally recognized standards, codes of practice, guidelines, and recommendations related to food safety and quality. Managed jointly by two UN organizations, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and the World Health Organization. Codex standards encompass a broad spectrum of food-related areas, including safety, hygiene, additives, contaminants, labeling, and more. In 1994, Codex classified nutrients as toxins, suggesting a need for protection. This decision, while presented as protective, raised concerns. In 2005, the Commission ratified the restrictive vitamin and mineral guideline, projected to result in a minimum of 3 billion deaths. This alarming statistic underscores the potential consequences of such policies. While Codex may be a voluntary commission, it wields influence through non-governmental organizations, NGOs, like the Council on Foreign Relations, which shape international policy which is then adopted by the UN. The United Nations policies are then pushed upon national governments, often funded by taxes like income tax. This intricate web of influence has fueled suspicions regarding globalist agendas. UN policies are sometimes portrayed as beneficial to the population, such as water fluoridation for deterring the decay of teeth. However, critics argue that these policies may have hidden dangers. For instance, fluoride in water has been linked to health issues like high blood pressure, seizures, neurological problems, skeletal weakness, and hormonal imbalances. As the UN emphasizes sustainable development, it must grapple with finite resources amid a burgeoning global population. From 1963, when Codex Alimentarius was established, to 2021, the world population surged from 3.2 billion to 7.9 billion. Some conspiracy theories posit that the UN, through various initiatives, is covertly working to decrease global population. These multifaceted topics shed light on the complex interplay between international organizations, secret societies, and national sovereignty, fueling intrigue and debate in our exploration of history's mysteries. Stay tuned for more revelations on Conveniently Unspoken. Before we conclude this eye-opening journey into the intricate web of international organizations, secret societies, and sovereignty, I encourage you to take action by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting on our channel. Your engagement fuels our mission to shed light on the conveniently unspoken. Remember, the truth may be conveniently unspoken, but it's worth seeking.